dancers. Today's story is Angelina's Halloween. Angelina loved the excitement of Halloween. She loved dressing up and trick-or-treating and spent hours with her best friend Alice thinking about wonderful costumes. At last, they decided to be dancing fireflies and drew beautiful pictures of wings and tiaras. Angelina's little sister Polly wanted to join them. Mrs. Mouseling helped them make the delicate costumes, and when the wings and tiaras were done, Angelina and Alice practiced flying around the cottage. Polly tried to fly too, but kept crashing into Angelina's wings. "Why do you always copy me?" Angelina stamped her foot. Polly hung her head. "I want wings," she cried. "You're too little," explained Angelina, "but you could be something really scary." Mrs. Mouseling found a sheet, and Angelina showed Polly how to be a spooky Halloween ghost. On Halloween evening, Angelina and her friends played scary games, and Mrs. Mouseling made them a bubbling witch's brew and delicious goblin cookies. When Mr. Mouseling came home with an enormous pumpkin, the two fireflies and the little ghost gave him quite a fright. After the party, Angelina and her friends set off together with their trick-or-treat bags. "Don't forget your sister," called Mrs. Mouseling. They went to scare Miss Lily, the ballet teacher, who waved her wand and gave them a lollipop. They were about to play a Halloween trick on old Mrs. Hodgepodge when all of a sudden, boo! Two red devils leaped out from behind an apple tree. Angelina wasn't fooled and quickly recognized Spike and Sammy. "We're not scared of you," she laughed. "I bet you're scared of that house," teased Spike. "It's haunted." Angelina skipped off toward the dark building and banged loudly on the door. "Trick or treat," she called. There was no answer. "Let's go inside," whispered Spike and Sammy. Inside the house was strange and shadowy, and they tiptoed around very slowly. "Ouch!" Alice stubbed her toe. Angelina shivered, and then something lumpy bumped into her. "Help!" They all scrambled outside. In the dark garden, a weird sound stopped them. "Ooh!" "Watch out for witches!" Alice warned everyone. They peered all around, and then Angelina saw a ghostly shape in the blackberry bushes. "It's only Polly," she sighed, dragging the little ghost out of the prickles. "Now stay with me," she scolded. After that, Angelina kept her eyes on the little ghost, and they went trick-or-treating through the neighborhood, filling their bags with delicious candy. As the moon rose high in the night sky, the village band began to play, and everyone came out to join the grand costume parade. The whole village was dressed up in marvelous costumes. The two fireflies seemed to float off the ground as they danced along with the little ghost jumping between them. At the end of the evening, Miss Lily proudly handed out prizes. The two fireflies and the little ghost won a special award for Halloween dancing, she announced. "Hooray!" shouted the ghost, leaping up and down. "But you're Henry!" gasped Angelina. "Where's Polly?" Angelina dashed up the street to Mrs. Thimble's general store, but all the village shops were closed. She ran to Mrs. Hodgepodge's cottage, but nobody was home. Then a fuzzy monster skipped by. "Have you seen a little ghost?" Angelina asked, but the monster sadly shook his head. Angelina raced up and down through the streets of the village until at last she reached the haunted house. There she found Polly sitting on the steps, sharing her goodies from her trick-or-treat bag with three little friends dressed as wizards. "My tummy feels funny," Polly whimpered. Angelina shook her head. "You shouldn't eat your sweets so fast. Anyway, you really scared me." "Did I?" Polly asked. On the way home, Polly held Angelina's hand. "Next Halloween, can I be a firefly just like you?" she asked. Next Halloween, I think I'll be an acrobat, said Angelina. Can I, Polly began, be an acrobat too? First, I'll have to show you some of my tricks, Angelina smiled. And the very next day, she did. I hope you enjoyed our story today. Have a great rest of class.